Hello and welcome back to the guy. So I've been wanting to do a documentary about the Apple for a really long time. The trouble is, if you want to make a good episode about the Apple, you kind of need to have an Apple on hand. There were only a few hundred produced. I think there's somewhere around 200 of them still left in existence. And if you got about $500,000 in the bank, you could probably afford to buy an Apple. But obviously I don't have that kind of money. So there's a couple other choices. One, you can build your own app system, which is exactly what I'm about to do. This is actually a pretty long process, just finding all of the parts to put one of these together. So I'll talk about that more in a little bit. Another option is you can buy several different kinds of kits. This is an example of one. It's called a kit, and this is an Apple computer. So it's not a real Apple, but it will run Apple. But let's go ahead and get started putting this butt together. I'll start by soldering in all of the sockets. As far as soldering goes, this is the most time-consuming thing. There's around 6 chips on this board. I know it doesn't look like that many, but it's a lot, and that's somewhere around 1 solder joint just for the sockets alone. It took me about 6 hours to complete this part. I will say, this gives me great respect for Wozniak assembling these in a cask. In fact, it's quite interesting to think about that, as this is quite literally a cask. Unfortunately, it turns out I installed these axial lead capacitors in backwards. Now, for some reason, I was thinking the arrows pointed to the positive side when they actually point to the negative. I honestly don't think I've ever had to solder in axial lead capacitors before. Anyway, it was easily corrected, and I'm just glad I found out about it before powering up the board. Most of the soldering is done now, so it's time to use some alcohol to clean the flux off of the board. For authenticity, I'm also based on the original design.